Question. This is from Anthony. He says, hey Jennifer, I'm glad you're still open to making these videos. I've been rewatching them for over a decade. Wow. Thank you so much, Anthony, by the way. Just so you guys know, my husband and my son are playing video games with my brother-in-law. They're playing Helldivers. Don't judge us. So if you hear them in the background, that's why. I was rewatching your Fond Memories video recently, and you talked about how rich families can schedule and rent official princesses for special events similar to princess parties. I feel like there's been a lot of face character content over the years, but I don't think I've seen any other performer face character friends tell stories about these optional events you can sign up for. Is it a privacy thing for them, or does it just not happen often? I think it just doesn't happen often. So I'm trying to remember how many of the special event type things I've done. The first one I ever did was as Pocahontas at Disney's Grand Floridian for a little boy's 3-year-old birthday party. He looked just like my husband when my husband was 3, according to the pictures I've seen from my husband's family photo albums. And so when I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like I am doing a Pocahontas princess party for my husband. Like when he was, it was crazy. It was weird, like not weird, like it made me like love this little kid even more and want to just give him the best party. It couldn't have been cheap. His dad was on some business call, taking a work call, and so the mom was all by herself. Like just with me and interacting with the kids. Maybe he got off the phone after I was there. Maybe he wasn't down for the character event. I don't know. I feel like my husband would have wanted to watch if it was, you know, he was making the big bucks so that they could afford to have this fancy party. So, you know, no judgment, no shame. I think the little boy had an older sister as well, which is funny. My kids, I have an older sister daughter, and then my son is the younger brother. They were just so sweet. They had so many questions. I don't remember, because it's been like 20 years. I don't remember what the exact questions were, but I just remember playing with them, like playing like Duck, Duck, Goose, and feeling so incredibly honored that Pocahontas, of all the princesses or face roles that could have been requested, it was Pocahontas who they wanted. Like, oh my gosh, I kind of get emotional thinking about it, but I remember feeling such honor because I didn't feel like Pocahontas was, at least for me, like I liked her movie, but I didn't love it the way I did the Aladdin film, which was the other face character that I used to perform. And so for her to get love was kind of eye-opening for me. Like, I don't know if you guys know Rachel and Leah in the book of Genesis in the Bible. Like, Leah was unloved, Rachel was loved, and I felt like Pocahontas was the Leah because she did a very natural, simple makeup look, and I was all into makeup, and you know, I loved the glitz and the glamour. And I just loved Jasmine's character, but Pocahontas was so humble, and so she wasn't flashy. The makeup appearance that Pocahontas did was meant to be understated and not, you know, like a glamorous queen. And so for somebody to honor Pocahontas by requesting her for who she, like they genuinely liked her, I just remember feeling like emotional about it. I don't know, like somebody loves Pocahontas, really? Like, you know, I know, isn't that terrible? I know, it's so sad. But apparently Pocahontas is beloved. Some of you people, you don't care about the glitz and glam. You don't care about the, you know, living in a palace. You love Pocahontas, the film. You love what she's about. You love that movie, and you like her. And I appreciate that now. Like I regret some of the way I used to feel towards her when I was younger. And then another princess party that I'm thinking of was this family. It was like a sports athlete for some NFL team, and I didn't know NFL, but it was once again, the dad was not in attendance for this party, but it was at Mickey's Hideaway in Hollywood Studios, which I don't know, does that even still exist? It was like this VIP room in the middle of Hollywood Studios, and I think it's being used now as a character place. Comment below, let me know if you guys know anything about Mickey's Hideaway, but at the time it was like a VIP room. Anyway, the party was there. They ordered all of the princesses, like Cinderella, Aurora, Snow White, Jasmine, Mulan maybe, I don't know. Whoever was it back in the early 2000s, this was pre-Tiana, the Fab Five or whatever we were, Fab Six, they were there. I don't even think Pocahontas was there though. It was like the glamorous princesses. It was a little girl who was turning 5 or something like that. And she was the biggest diva that I have ever met. Like, I don't think I met a bigger diva at Disney, even among like kids in line, than this little girl. She had a huge, and it wasn't just because it was literally her attitude. It wasn't just because she had the funds and the money to have like this amazing banquet just for her, and the fact that she could afford all of the princesses. It was the attitude that she came, like very bossy, like, I'm the teacher and you guys are the students. She was like commanding us. Like, I just wasn't used to it. As a Disney princess, usually people would come respecting and giving honor to you. And so to have a little 5-year-old come and say no and like tell you what to do and boss you around, it was like, wait, what? Jasmine's not used to being bossed around. Like, what? You know, like, or Cinderella for that matter, or Princess Aurora. And all of us were like, okay, we're getting paid. So, and this was a VIP party. We wanted to please them. And they're paying for you to do what their kid wants you to do. So you have to do it and obey. So I just remember she was the teacher. We were the naughty students who were getting in trouble. You're going to time out. Like, I just wasn't prepared for it. But I remember laughing, just being like, wow, like I just didn't know. I wasn't prepared, that's all. And it was just such a contrast from my first princess party as Pocahontas, where the little boy genuinely loved the Pocahontas story. I think the family genuinely loved the Pocahontas story and appreciated her character and wanted to play with her in a mutual, like, respectful, loving way, like Duck, Duck, Goose, where we were both interacting and laughing and joyful, compared to princesses like Cinderella and Aurora, Jasmine, all of us, Snow White, sitting down on the floor, being bossed around by the teacher, being put in timeout. Like, she had a ruler that she was using, yelling at us like we were below her. So I guess she was gonna be a CEO or a billionaire someday. I don't know what. She was ready to rule the princesses. But I wasn't accustomed to a child having that kind of authority, the way she came in to dominate like that. I just wasn't prepared for it. Is it just princesses available or literally any character in the park from face to fur? It is literally any character in the park from face to fur if you are willing to pay and you can afford it. I have never heard of them telling somebody no. If they have the costume for that character and somebody to play that character, if you hire it, like, you just coordinate in advance, because that was the thing too. I remember like celebrities would hire, who was it? There was that boxer, Oscar de la Hoya or whatever. I remember when he was having a party for one of his kids or something like that, and wanting to sign up for that, but another Jasmine beat me to it, because there was a book too where you could go to sign up for special events. And I feel like, I don't know if I signed up for particular parties like the Pocahontas and the other one with the little girl. Sometimes Disney would just pull you for the day and be like, you're doing this. If it was like a last minute thing. And they could find somebody else to come and do your shift, and then they would move me to go do the party or the special event. Because if they have the people, they can rearrange shifts, they could call somebody in. Were these events popular to do among face characters or just seen as extra work? It was popular. It was popular because it was fun. It was money, but it was like deviating from your regular shift, which could get monotonous, you know? So it was fun to do those. I hope that's answering it. Were there always a lot of listings, or is it just something you checked randomly from time to time? I feel like I checked it randomly from time to time, but I used to like to do these types of listings. I just can't remember that I ever actually got picked, because like, I'm trying to even remember how it all worked. I remember this one big book where you could sign up for events like the Oscar de la Hoya thing, but then there were times where I didn't sign up for it and it was still given to me, if that makes sense. All right, let me see. Also, is it just birthday parties, or could it be like my kid wants to play video games with Winnie the Pooh on a random Tuesday? That's a very good question. I feel like you could do the Winnie, I don't know 100%, but I feel like you could do the video game thing on a random Tuesday. The problem is I don't know that Winnie the Pooh would be able to have good enough visibility to actually play the video games, but I wonder if they could make that work technically. But I feel like parents didn't shell out the money, even if they were wealthy to do it. I feel like they didn't typically shell out the money except for birthday parties in my personal experience. I never saw anybody just do it just to do it. Mickey, whoever would do the fur of Mickey Mouse, they did a lot of events. I remember thinking that, like, wow, these fur characters get more fun events than the face characters do. Maybe face characters were more expensive, I'm not sure. But especially people wanted to be with Mickey Mouse, like for your wedding, for example. I remember the Mickey Mouse performers getting called to do weddings, and I knew that I probably, as Princess Jasmine or Pocahontas, was never gonna get called for a wedding. If any princess was gonna get called for a wedding, it was gonna be Cinderella because it was Cinderella's castle. But usually like a bride and groom, for nostalgia, if they were getting married at Disney, they would have wanted Mickey Mouse or like Donald and Pluto or Daisy or whatever, Goofy, to go be in their wedding photos, but probably not Princess Jasmine. Yeah, so was there any special training involved to do those? No, because one of the skills you needed as a performer was improvisational skills, like talking to people, which I love, talking to random strangers and making them feel like we've been old friends. Not that I don't necessarily do that on purpose, but I realize that that's something that I can talk to strangers very easily, and I actually enjoy it, and I like it, and I like getting to know random people. But to do it from a fictional world was just super fun to me. So I don't feel like there was any special training to do it, because you just sort of made it up as you went. I didn't feel like that was hard. I don't know, maybe for some people the idea of making up things on the spot is hard, but it wasn't hard for me. When I took the improvisational class at SAC Comedy Lab in downtown Orlando, there are definitely people who are way more talented than I am, who are legitimately funny. My husband likes to watch that one. Who are those YouTubers that do a lot of improv? I'll put it up on the screen. They are very skilled and quick on their feet. I would love to practice improv more, but at the time, at least for what the job required, as Princess Jasmine, I felt confident in my skills and in who my character was. Pocahontas was where it got more tricky because she was a real character, but thankfully with doing Pocahontas for the 3-year-old's birthday party, he was, again, very kind, wasn't trying to trip me up, you know, neither was the mom. They just wanted a magical, loving, beautiful moment for their kids. With the little girl, sports athlete's daughter, it was, you know, you just submit to her demands. That's what you're getting paid for. And you be kind and you play the best you know how. She just wanted to play make-believe like we were her friends. Like that was her dream and that's what she wanted. And that's what we did. Now, was she like a little diva kid? Sure. But you know what? She's a kid and it is what it is. We got paid. I just remember wanting to eat the smorgasbord of food that they had. It was like a crazy, beautiful buffet, like a wedding banquet. I remember that. Any extra rules that you were given, or was the normal meet and greet character dining protocols enough? The regular dining protocols were enough, although, yeah, meet and greet. I remember you talking about seeing all this fancy food. Yes. Were you allowed to eat any of it? No, I was not allowed to eat any of it. Isn't that sad? Yeah, I don't even think the character attendants were allowed to eat it. Did you guys have a character attendant with you to be the bridge real world voice? Yes, absolutely, always. The character attendant was like your bodyguard. If you were being mistreated or harassed in any way, shape, or form, that's where the character attendant would step in. She did not step in to save us from the 5-year-old though, I will say that. She didn't. She probably was amused watching it all go down. In fact, I seem to remember the character attendant was speaking more with the mom. She was like a blinged out, you know, super like wealthy, enjoying her, or at least flaunting her wealth type mom. You know, more power to her. I remember she had a super fit bod. She was working on her fitness, like all the ice and everything on her wrists, ice on her wrists. But yeah, but the character attendant was more interested in learning about this mom than she was with us getting bossed around by the 5-year-old. Was it harder to stay in character since you were outside of your typical spots and had to keep up with the same people for an hour? It was different. I don't want to say that it was hard because the job wasn't hard. It was in the sense that it wasn't the same old like protocol, but because these were kids and you just had to, you know, like especially when the little girl had us do like the teacher game, which is the game that stood out to me the most because it was the most rude kind of thing. Like you just had to react as if you were Princess Jasmine playing with a little girl, and how she would react that way. I just did kind Princess Jasmine, who was happy to play with her. Like me, I don't even think I scolded her because it also wasn't my job to do that. And she was so little and I didn't even have kids at the time, so I didn't feel like authority to do that. So I just remember being shocked by it because I wasn't used to being treated that way. So in that sense, it was hard, but it was nice that I had the other princesses around me to play off of. Like, oh, like, you know, like I remember like looking at the Cinderella or Aurora and her being like, yeah. And then like about it being harder to stay in character. So like even Pocahontas playing Duck Duck Goose with the kids. So then you do it from Pocahontas's viewpoint, playing Duck Duck Goose with the kids. So you were too busy with all of the activities that you were doing with the little kids to really focus on whether it was difficult or not, because you were just kind of thrown into the deep end and you had to swim kind of thing. And it was more about making those memories with those kids. Lucas, take it down. And yeah, and it was more about having fun and playing with them, really. I don't know. Did you talk to the other princesses after about how surreal it was to see how the rich live? I feel like there's so many wealthy people at Disney that you get used to it in a way, because like, for example, the backstage tours, the celebrities that would come by. I remember, I don't know how Disney is today, but at the time, like John Stamos, it was back when he was with Rebecca Romaine Stamos, and Mariah Carey was still big. And what did catch me off guard was in the break room hearing about how you had these attendants or like public relations people who had to attend to wealthy people who didn't know how to do basic things that I think the everyday Disney guest who has to deal, they don't know how to even order food. Like, I don't know. Or I don't know. Have you guys ever seen the videos where a president will come to a grocery store and then they don't know how to order, they don't know how the checkout process goes because they usually hire somebody, or they have servants or staffs or whatever, staff who goes and does all of the shopping for them. So if you're not familiar with going to the grocery store, you don't know how the aisles work, where to find things, how things are organized. And it was similar at Disney. There were wealthy people who didn't know how to make reservations. You needed somebody to do it all for you because that was the kind of life you lived, you know. Middle Eastern people, like from some of those countries over there, maybe because also there was a language barrier and they didn't live here normally, but like I seem to remember there was like a sheik that would come and rent out whole floors of some of the hotels. And you know, I wouldn't have expected, especially because of the language barrier, and them also, like, I think they literally have servants in some of these palaces in the Middle East and stuff. So people like them, they wouldn't know what to do. If you're from a super wealthy family from another foreign country where you literally have servants, even in Colombia they have, but the Colombians knew how to run around. It's just, yeah. So there's just people in the world who need help with that stuff. So was it surreal to see how the rich lived? I think it was educational. More than anything, I would say it was more educational. I have respect for humanity. My grandma came to America as a janitor. That was, she saw like an ad in the paper back in 1969 or 1970 when she came to America, immigrated legally. She came for a humble job position, and you know, you get treated a certain way when you're a janitor. And then her children and great-grandchildren went on to do better things, you know, and excel and build off of what she gave us by coming here to America for a better life, the American dream, if you will. And then I had just screenshotted this question here. You said, sorry for all the questions. I know it's been a while, but I would love to have the tea on this. And I don't know if you wrote more because I can't see it because it's just a screenshot, but anyways, I apologize about all the noise in the background. I hope I answered your question. Comment below if I need to elaborate more on anything, but you know, I'm working with my limited memory here. I don't want to say it's limited. Let's say it more positively. Yes, whatever I can remember at the time anyway. So I want to thank you so much for watching and request that you subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Hit like if you like this video, share it if you think somebody else might enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening, for even wanting to know. I hope that it kind of gives you that feeling of what it might have been like, a peek behind the Disney magic, the Disney curtain. I have very fond memories that shaped me and into who I am today. And I will forever be grateful to the Disney company for that. So, yeah. I think what makes Disney great are the stories that have brought humanity together, the lessons that we learn, the songs that we sing together, the feelings and the shared feelings and emotions that we have, and then bringing those characters to life and vibing together. Like, I think that's what makes Disney fun and unique. And so yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Hey you guys, I have my little, can you see Mickey Mouse on this cup? It's a Walt Disney World pass holder glass. It's one of my favorite glasses that I own. I don't know what it is. I just like the thickness or the thinness of the rim. But I have my OJ here. This is something I try to do every day. Let me shake my OJ. And I only pour about this much. Okay, so it's about this much OJ. And then I have my, this is called Spoiled Child. You're only supposed to have 1 or 2 tablespoons daily. So it says extra strength liquid collagen mango flavor, supports skin, hair, nails, joints, and gut health. It has types 1 and 3 collagen, vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, 5 grams of collagen per serving. And since I am 42, I do care about my hair and how I'm aging, and I want to take good care of myself. So I do try to have this daily. And so I need to shake it because I feel like there's only about this much left. So I shake that. And then I have this little glass, and it is labeled 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. I try to take 2. And this comes with the bottle. It says Spoiled Child right there. I feel spoiled taking this because I have tried so many different collagen powders and different ways to take collagen. There it is in the glass. It smells delicious. I pour it in with my OJ. Oops, got a little on my hand there. Anyway, so now it's in the OJ, and I just down it like a shot. And the collagen is kind of thick, so if there's still some left in the cup, I will just add a little bit more OJ and down the collagen like that. As Mary Poppins says, just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. There's still a little bit of collagen in here. It's good enough that I can do that. In case you have been looking for a collagen supplement and you haven't been able to find one that you like, Highly recommend Spoiled Child. I saw that Brooke Burke recommended it, and she was like a huge beauty role model to me like when I was younger, and so she looks amazing to me, and she's older than I am, like I think at least 15 years older than I am, and she looks great. So I have really enjoyed this one. Again, it says it's good for your joints and bones, and I feel like I do notice a difference when I'm working out when I'm not taking this versus when I am. And I don't know, you can be the judge for my skin. I mean, I don't have that many, like I don't feel like I have like heavy fine lines or anything, and maybe it's because I take this collagen supplement, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, wanted to throw this out there. Check the description box below if you want to learn more about it. Definitely check that out.